Good evening, Free Enterprise, and here we are, last race of week. I guess week two technically here in the Free Enterprise. We're here for the last match here this week before we go ahead to the next one here. I'm Nightdew. With me is John Burkett. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you so much for asking. Couldn't be more excited to go ahead and be able to call the last match of week two for the Free Enterprise community. In my opinion, there is no season quite like tournament season. ZZ5, only 2 weeks in, has had some incredibly nail-biting finishes and dramatic moments, and we're only just getting started, because while we are looking at this round of 32 in the waxing bracket, we also have our waning bracket. Technically week three, thank you Escrunt with our plans, but yeah, I'm doing wonderful, and I'm really excited for tonight's matchup.
It feels really weird to have a week off, but yeah, I see that my starting Palom call has not worked out, as that is Dragoon sitting up there, as well as actually a decent set of interesting bosses there. The normal Golbez Gauntlet here, some D-Lunars, a large doll people never hope to see, one Karate Man, a Plague, Leg Day, and Squid.
Yeah, these bosses aren't terrible. For most of you watching, I assume you've been watching both Red Moon and Blue Moon. This is a Blue Moon matchup, hence why we have a Kane start instead of Cecil, Edge, or Fusoya. And these bosses are not awful. Karate can be cheesed if you have a Cecil in there. Plague can be cheesed if you have RA1. Ruby can be rude, there's no question. And Octomam can be dealt with once you kind of slow him down. So if I'm running this, I don't hate this boss pool.
I don't hate this boss pool at all either, although the way we have been seeing matches, Red Moon or Blue Moon, we have been seeing a lot of gauntlets on the Ogopogo slot here recently. So one more for good measure here, no Dragoon Lance.
I mean, since I'm not the one running it, I would love to go ahead and see all of the pain and all of the anguish, because that's how it works, right? You know, when you're running it, you don't want to deal with it, but when it's restreamed, we got to give the people what they want. And what's a shocking, almost piece of hypocrisy for such a nice community and really just amazing, wonderful people. It's incredible how much they want to see the pain. You go into chat, it's like, oh, I hope that it's Twin Harp into Pan, and the Pan diverges, and you have to choose the right spot, and that's going to end with Alt Gauntlet at the Crystal Sword altar, so that you can go ahead and get your go mode with Baron Key. Like, it's amazing how such nice people want such horrible things for our runners. And quite frankly, right now, I'm one of them. Bring on the pain, because I'm not running.
I mean, all our audience wants to see our displays of skill, and hey, just show off what we can do here. And as I'm looking at it, we're off, and Kane is being joined by Mr. D Machine himself, Tella, and we have Bahamut walking forward, handing over the saddest ruby of them all.
It is a sad ruby. In case any of you might not know, we have a slightly different set of flags that you might be used to with previous tournaments. This is a no earned character, so you can get all of the free characters, a total of 7, including the 2-star that we have here. But items such as the Sand Ruby, or getting the hook, or checking the Moon character, they will just be adorable little piggies that have run all the way home. So that Sand Ruby will help toward the key item count, but unfortunately will not result in any actual characters for our party.
Yep, and Panda is headed straight up to Watery Pass, but I'm going to ask you here, you've got a Tella, you've got a Kane, what do you want to see in the character pool here as we walk into our character checks here?
I love Tella in this flag set. Getting up ordeals is typically a priority. What a surprise! An Eddie in a Blue Moon Seed. My goodness gracious, how could it be, as we see Kane joining, and we have a Yang over on Panda's side. Tella provides an early source of exit, so Panda might be going ahead and thinking, well, I can go ahead and loot as little or as much of the Watery Pass as I want, and I can just go ahead and cast exit to go ahead and get out of here, so we'll see how deeply he goes with this. But to answer your original question, I'm looking for the man himself. I'm looking for Cecil. We are on T Wildish, and it has been proven that, purse string for sale. That's really good information for Elven over Mysidia. It's been proven that it's very likely that you're going to go ahead and probably, not always, but probably find a Holy Sword, as Elven also finds cabins and life pods. Mysidia is the place to shop. I'm looking and hoping for a Cecil, because Cecil can go burr, and then we can blow up the seed.
It is kind of a little bit like the last race I commented here, and if Cecil is the man, the myth, the legend over in over in Damsey, which is the only character we haven't checked. And guess what? We don't have here. Oh, once more, we don't. We will actually will not have any career white mages or black mages here. It's all hitting things all the time.
It is true. We also have the ordeals check, so that's another spot that we might go ahead and have. Elvin is following suit. We'll see how deeply he goes with the looting. He did find a power staff. That can be, with a little bit of tech, can be cheesed for some early berserk. So if you want to go ahead and zerk up either a Sid or a Kane, assuming we find some kind of gear for them. I haven't seen anything terribly wonderful for either one of them just yet. They can go ahead and get...
Yeah, actually here, gonna jump in there. Bardic Panda did find a cursed ring deep in there, so that's 35k Bardic Panda will not have to spend, as opposed to Elvensorrow. While money has been a thing here, not having to drop that much there is kind of definitely more of a boon. Is going full loot on this, which is kind of interesting.
Yep, that Drain Spear might be used maybe more for looting than anything else. Panda remembering to go ahead and exit out. If you walk out of the door over there, it is a very long and tragically sad walk back. That ribbon that Elvin found, which I assume Panda also found as well, should they go ahead and decide to go ahead and loot over at Ebon Castle, that ribbon will provide added defense against the Mad Ogre chest. I have to guess, and there's Elvin finding the cursed ring that you talked about there, Night Dew. I have to assume that it's probably pretty likely that they might hold on to their Sids based off of the characters that we've seen. A cursed Sid provides not only a great anchor, but also a very good chemist. It's also worth noting, we haven't found a white mage yet.
Yeah, absolutely. I love Cursed Ring Sid as a chemist there. A big ball of HP there, a hook from Bedward. But yeah, I totally agree there. It just sits there, throws potions, has a nice day, has, 4,000 hit points, doesn't really care about much. And is a really easy character. Just kind of sit there and just let do his thing with the Curse Ring. It's really easy to get people back on RA1 there, as we do see Bardic Panda go into the public treasury. And hey, before we curse that Sid, that Earth Hammer is a totally viable beginning game weapon right here.
Correct. Anyone that knows Elvin, Elvin is one of my closest friends in the community. Elvin, Sid is his boy, and very much because of this versatility. So that Earth Hammer, you might go ahead and do a little bit of work. Elvensorrow, where are you going, buddy? What are you doing?
Wait, this is a chocobo forest. What's going on here?
Oh man, he's I think he's playing out to the restream audience there for a little bit. Unfortunately, only finding a little bit of fire armor there. I'm gonna have to go ahead and ask him about that. Should he go ahead and pop it in for an interview? But no, that Earth Hammer is great, especially if you find early Gauntlet. That Earth Hammer can be used to cast a very weak version of Quake. But if you find a Gauntlet early on, that version of Quake is just enough. Speaking of finding things early on, how do you feel about a Sid, Night Dew?
I feel great about a Sid. I feel great about an Edge. But again, as we've said here, this team here is the all hit things all the time. Aside from Tella, we have all of our physical fighters here and none of the mages. So if you want sweepers, you want heals, you want white magic, you want any of that, you've come to the wrong seed.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. As we get our first check over here at the waterfall, we see Baron Guards. They are not required, and so Panda can go ahead and take that off the list, and we'll see where he heads off going next. This is probably not your ideal party comp. We still don't know who's on Ordeals. Black mages provide a lot of AoE, the ability to go ahead and hit multiple characters at once. I mean, Edge does have his Ninjutsu magic, but it certainly has its limits. You have Tella, but anyone that's ever played this game knows that Tella has his limits. And we still haven't really found a white mage yet. So, well, for the early game, I don't think anyone's worrying about the early game checks, but as you start to go ahead and think long term, you have a root hook route, nasty bosses that might be required over the Fey March, let alone the Moon. As the game progresses, this can really get interesting, and it's going to rely on the knowledge and acumen of our runners to go ahead and get through.
Yeah, we do have that one check left there at Ordeals here. So one more shot to get a what looks to be a supporting character. As meanwhile, Elvensorrow has went to what looks like Antlion here, or is this D-Mist? I just missed that there.
I think that was D-Mist. I know that Elvin likes the loot in there, as the legendary Possumorpheus has pointed out many, many times. The 4 chests that are in the Mist Cave are tiered at the same level as as Eblin Castle. The flip side is that you don't have any trap chests there, so you can go ahead and loot freely. If it had been an easier boss, they would have been able to get through. Val's a little bit rude. It's nice to have Val off the table, and back-to-back sirens for Panda right there. As he goes up ordeals, let's find out who our final character is.
Sirens plus the one going up into Dempsey, and lots of sirens early here, and well, there he is. So yeah, you have a full set of physical fighters here, and Panda says no to Sid. I'm kind of wondering about that, as given curse ring going on there, unless you're keeping Tella for that anchor. And I actually kind of feel like I'd let Tella free roam here, give him boost, see if he can get that white magic online there. But honestly, again, we have no magic. We just hit things.
Yeah, I probably would have let Yang go personally. Yang is often referred to as a punch mage because while you can get our melee characters online very quickly with gear, Cecil is so valuable in this flag set because it's easy-ish to go ahead and get him a holy sword, and then he can go ahead and blow up the seed. Our mages are going to need levels for spells, just like Yang is going to need levels to go ahead and do some really serious damage. So, especially with that Earth Hammer, that's a little, it's a unique strategy. Maybe not one I necessarily would have done, but it might go ahead and pan out. Long term, we were just talking about long term goals, so maybe he wants to go ahead and get levels for that Yang. So we'll see how that works out for him. Meanwhile, Elvin is not rushing up ordeals as we've often seen, but rather he's taking out this Knotso in Antlion Cave.
Another boss you'd love to see early and not doing terrible things to your party here. Sid, I mean, this is Blue Moon, so back row glitch is still on here, so that Sid, I don't know if he made it to a bow and arrow or not, but is there and should be getting full damage off that Earth Hammer, as we do see Bardic Panda going for some sirens here with those extra sirens. Not a bad idea to actually hit these little fights, get that free about 5,500 XP here.
No, I personally love this as we get a pink tail from Elvin. Let me tell you something. There's a lot of people, myself included, that would rush up ordeals to try to get Cecil online, and then go ahead and rush ordeals, trying to go ahead or rush Eblin Castle, trying to get him a holy sword. There's a very decent chance that that pink tail, which is a random tier 7, tier 8 item on these flags, is going to be a holy sword. So by doing these checks first, if that pink tail turns out to be a holy sword, he can save a lot of time not looting Eblin Castle if he feels good about his levels, potentially get a holy sword and save a lot of time.
Even if you miss holy swords there, again, I believe you can hit Zeus Gauntlets. I'm not sure about that. I can't remember if those are 7 or on there. Avenger is another big one because hey, Kane's already here. He can use that. We do have that's a required order Mount Hops there, as we do see these Lunars sitting right there.
Yep, and that's a spot where you want to go ahead and see them. The HP is not that much. You put them in Ribbon Room, you put them at Elements, and their script gets to be incredibly complicated and difficult to go ahead and deal with. And while we are seeing the flames go out quite a bit, one more attack, and these things are going to go ahead and go down. And that's going to be the first objective for Elvin. So it's getting a little scary with how quick those flames are going out. He is through a little bit of XP, and one boss is out of the way, and he will not have to go ahead and come back here. Panda finding Ashura at the first spot of ordeals. This spot has incredibly low attack, so in that respect, it's not so bad. But there is a decent amount of HP for where, considering where we are in the game, and this can be a little difficult to deal with. You either have to go ahead and double Star Veil, or try to life lock, which is timing your attacks accordingly. And it looks like I believe that Panda is trying to go ahead and get the double Star Veils off.
Yeah, I have been very tempted to yeet that Drain Spear that Panda has in the inventory here. Yeah, gonna go double Star Veils here. As you said, the physical attack here is nothing really. So with those double Star Veils, now you can just hold A, honestly, and the fight will progress eventually. But the big news here is elvensorrow has that pink tail, is going to turn it in here. White shirt time?
Always white shirt time, except when it's not. I mean, that's an early game changer.
Oh, that's some genuine Hanzo steel that's going right into Edge's hand. Pinktail paying off huge will be great on Elven's setting up ordeals here.
Yep. We'll see if he puts the hovercraft back, getting ready to go ahead and do the eventual hook route. With these flags, we do not have the magma key for our immediate underground access. We only have the magma key for bullying and memes, but I'm sure we'll get to that later on in the broadcast. Elvin does go ahead and drop it off, saving some time. That's some good efficiency. And Martin Broadcloak, wherever you are, we are certain that this item is for you. Just a wind spear, not terribly useful for this particular party.
Panda actually grabbed that there, so we knew what it was. And I mean, hey, with this Asura up here, that wind spear. Actually, I can't remember if it's another dart or not. Honestly, it's half the spears can be darted, half the spears can't. So it just kind of decides on what you get here.
It is weird how like certain things you can't dart, but certain things you can, and it feels like you should just be able to go ahead and dart everything. As Elvin finds his, I assume good news, right? Seeing Cecil on these flags, you gotta be excited about that. Smart enough to go ahead and keep the Thunderclaw. That could have large implications. Oh, back attack Wyvern. That's cute. Fortunately, they would go ahead and smart enough to go ahead and make sure that they don't just blarg right away. So they do give you some time to go ahead and get your Star Veils up here. So this isn't as rude as it could be. And our runners honestly are probably pretty happy to go ahead and see this off the table as Cecil hits for a very impressive 31 from the back row. That's almost tens of damage. But even still, just the sight of a Wyvern does not exactly fill you with a terrible amount of confidence.
Of note here is that Bardic Panda may have really only needed one of those Star Veils, did so for the full 3. Panda did use every last Star Veil he had, so while again Asura and Wyvern being 2 of them you're really kind of happy to be rid of here, you're kind of just in a little bit of an issue here if you run into, say, Golbez in a nasty spot without finding some more of those Star Veils to bring up here.
Yeah, that's totally fair. I have to imagine that both of our runners are going to be looking for Cure 3s, given the fact that Tella is the closest thing that we have to a White Mage. We don't even have a radio with an Ashura 66% of the time. So I foresee shopping for both of our characters, as Panda shows us that it is going to be a pan that we get for completing ordeals. So we have to imagine that our runners will be heading there very quickly as soon as they get underground. Star Veils are usually in more than one shop, so hopefully for Panda's sake, he'll be able to go ahead and find them soon. But in the meantime, we have a non-required Paladin.
The Lunar Sparkles getting out of the way here early. That's Paladin. So we're down to Plague and Ogopogo, actually, if we see any Lunar Sparkles on the hook route. So, hey, Ogopogo on the hook route sounds great, even though this party is probably one of the better ones to deal with them. The question is, if we get to that gated shop and they have Bacchus wine, the question isn't yes or no. The question is how many.
It's an Irishman. The answer is all of them. You ever see Parks and Rec, where Ron Swanson's like, "Give me all the eggs and bacon that you have," and then the waiter starts to go away, and he goes, "Son, come back. I'm worried that you heard, give me a lot of eggs and bacon." And what I said was, "Give me all the eggs and bacon that you have." That's how it's going to be for Bacchus wine for such a incredibly heavy melee heavy party. We have a Tella that can cast it as soon as they're done with ordeals here. We'll see how many Star Veils Elvin uses. Elvin is going to try to jump, maybe get some levels on Kane. That's pretty heads up. I'd like to go ahead and see that. But yeah, all the Bacchus wine I do. I think they're going to buy literally all the Bacchus wine.
I mean, that is what I would buy there too. I mean, it's Tella is going to have a lot of heavy lifting here. I did see somebody here say, do we face down Sid or do we face down Tella? And actually, no. I say we let our Tella free roam. We have the cursed ring. We can probably find a dwarf axe somewhere. The Sid is very much our anchor here in Chemist, as the other 3 are just probably going to, if we can find it, chug wine for the rest of the seed and go burr.
Correct. If you look at the armor for Bardic Panda, I believe both of our runners have found crystal armor. Crystal armor is the strongest defensive armor that Cecil can wear. The 2 major downsides of it: number 1, there is no attack bonus for it, and number 2, you cannot be berserked when you have the crystal armor. The only exception to that rule is the Avenger. What the crystal armor is great for, however, are cover strats. So if you're, I don't know, hypothetically going down to Elven Castle right now, well, he's not going to Elven Castle right now, but if you were to go ahead and deal with some bosses where you want to use some cover strats, a back road Cecil wearing that kind of gear, covering some of our more heavy hitters at the moment, might be a way that both of our runners are able to go ahead and get through some of these early checks.
Wonderful against, things that just want to hit you all the time. Antlion, Evil Wall, all those kind of things that just cast punch all the time.
Yep. Possum pointing out in chat that you can be power staff bonked for it. That's news to me because with the glass hat, I knew that you couldn't. I just always assumed that that rule applied for the crystal armor. I've been playing this game for like a year and a half, and it's amazing how I still learn new things about it every day because, as has become canon in the community, there are no glitches in this game, no bugs, only features.
I mean, some of us have been playing this game for, the about 30 years it's been out, and we're still learning things here.
Listen, I can remember as a kid, as Panda's going to go ahead and find who we have at Football Defense. Oh, hello, Gauntlet. What's up, buddy? So, he is anchored very nicely here because he's fast anchored, which means he might be able to go ahead and get some actions off. And the one character outside of Tella who has some significant AoE is Edge. And so, because of the way that Panda, his party, is situated and he's organized, he's going to be able to go ahead and get through this gauntlet very quickly. The enemies are not all that deadly. He is changing his rows here. Not quite sure what that's about.
It may be an issue with how much MP Edge has. May want to be taking one fight here, saying, "Well, okay, I've got 4 flames in the tank here, even with Edge gaining what looks like to be 1 level. I'm going to have to physically hit one of these fights down."
It makes sense. With the 10 lit bolts that our characters do start with, some of the weaker bosses, such as the imps that he started out with, I do believe a Thor Rage can take them out, but it is excellent awareness to go ahead and realize that, you only start with 60 MP, you only have enough to go ahead and cast 4 of your flames. There are 5 fights in the Gauntlet. In fact, this one might even have 6. So that's pretty heads up from Panda, so very good for him. So he's working his way through this. Elvensorrow is over at Baron, looking at the shops. He does find Ether 2s. Should we find an early darkness, that is very good information for him to have. Those Ether 2s would be essential for a D-Machine grind. We haven't found darkness. What we have found, though, is a required Octoman at Baron in 1.
Oh yeah, I'm going to say counterpoint here. We have team, all the physical here. Again, we just don't really have the slingshot. We don't have anybody doing anything with nuke here. This may be the one time out here where D-Machines are not the play here.
Yep, I agree. I think the only exception might be, should we go ahead and find a spoon at some point? We do have Eddie waiting over at the Tower of Wishes, which between you and me and everyone listening, he can go ahead and stay there for as long as he wants. He's the worst character in the history of characters. But regardless, if you end up, with tanky items or, you're hurt for melee damage and you haven't been able to go, let's say you can't find anything for Cecil or Kane or what have you, and you're looking for the extra DPS, and you want to go ahead and do your giant checks anyway, maybe you go up there. But you raise an excellent point in that, that's more for mages than it is for melee characters.
Speaking of melee characters, no key item there at Football, only just some Murasame, tower key there. We've got both of Edge's ultimate weapons. Before we go to this hook route, Edge is ready to go.
So let me ask you, Edge is all geared up and ready to go. Are you going to go to Evelyn Castle?
Oh yeah, I would love to get. Actually, was that just a lightsaber I saw on Bardic Panda's screen there? It does seem to possibly be so.
I think we're fine about 2 seconds. Looks like he's getting back road. Elvin's doing some shopping. Elvin's getting trolled by NPCs.
Okay, not a lightsaber then. Okay.
What I love is the fact is that Elvin's going to go ahead and wash his back, and he's going to hear me go ahead and just mock him. But he gets rewarded with a mute knife. That can be huge depending on the bosses that he finds and where he finds them. With an edge that can do an incredible amount of damage against some of our, we've already seen Baron Guards, we've already seen Ashura. But should we find elements and the mages that are in the second spot there, that could be a really nice upgrade. I don't believe I saw Panda go ahead and put on a lightsaber, but he is going to go ahead and find his D-Lunars, which will go ahead and give him which will go ahead and tie him up very briefly with a 2-2 boss find.
Yeah, and Elvensorrow might actually, with this land here at Evelyn, might be very tempted here to just kind of sit on this whole thing where, hey, I've got a pan in my inventory. Why would I go check ordeals when I know I've got a pan bonk and just doing it all in one? So that might be something where we just do not have Elvensorrow going to Babool until post the hook route, and that pan gets turned in as Bardic does finish off. So the one bad thing about that is, again, Bardic Panda is going to get both of those ninja swords here, and again, it could pop up here in Babool as well, or sorry, not Babool, but it could pop up here in Evelyn as well. So we could get that as well. But here's our first monster chest, and in it we have Mad Ogres. Hey, guess we got a mute dagger.
Yeah, guess we got a mute dagger that is doing some serious work. Cecil is going to go ahead and cover Edge. He's doing all the work. We're getting some life glitches, so we're getting some early levels. For our melee characters, life levels can go ahead and result in damage multipliers. So if you're ever doing an A grind, you might go ahead and find that all of a sudden you're doing a significant more damage than you were before, as Tella, living his best Tella life, gets the stone off from the center slot in the first try, which is great for him. We'll see what the item is. So the closer that you get toward those damage multipliers, yes, we find a crystal sword right away. And a defense sword for Kane in the very next chest.
Okay, well,
So we have our top item for Cecil, we have our top item for Kane, and we basically have our top items for Edge within 24 minutes of the seed. Am I understanding this correctly?
That is exactly what we're saying. Actually, I might not be entirely done there, because I might want to actually loot out the rest of that. Again, at this point, I'm not looking for anything else to equip at this point. What I'm looking for is, we're going to need to bankroll an absolute metric ton of Bacchus, but I don't see that. Just a little sad Leviathan Orb. Elixir's not out of the question here, not seeing Cure 3s there, but again, it's definitely a thing. Gets a full moon, so hey, now we can back row that Edge here. Again, that back row glitch kind of really necessary here, just with that how this is. Tella's going to sit in the middle for a while, I'm guessing, unless we put Sid there, but really, we kind of want that.
Yeah, so if you have Tella in the back row and anchoring, you can have a back road Edge and a back road Cecil. Someone's got to go in the front row, which we haven't found in Dwarf Access Kane, as we find another sparkle in the ruby spot. With the cursed ring, if that's plague, it is it's completely free. If it's Ogo, it can be a little bit rough. If I'm Elvin or either one of these runners, I strongly consider taking the Mad Ogre fight, not for the XP, not for the item, but to have Edge go ahead and steal just a couple Bacchus wines, because Berserk goes ahead and makes that free. If it is Plague, you're going to have some time for Tella to go ahead and cast it. If it's Ogo, you're going to want to go ahead and get that Berserk off maybe sooner rather than later. So Elvin clearly doesn't think that's completely necessary. He thinks that he can go ahead and get through, and he's probably right. But if it's me, that's a nice little bit of safety. I might want to go ahead.
Yeah, I really actually like that idea here, knowing we have a 50-50 on that being Plague or Ogopogo. Both moon bosses that I want Berserk for here. I mean, yes, Tella can cast it, but here's the thing, as even Elvensorrow goes to a full moon, Masamune, which is, pretty good still here, let's be real. The thing is, I mean, just, have Tella size all of them, and then just steal all steal all that you'd want.
Yep, we do see the Sork robe going on to Cecil. Here's what I'll say about that. The Crystal Sword does actually provide a little bit of a wisdom boost. It's either 5 or 10, I forget which. And then you throw the Sork robe on top of it. I know it sounds ridiculous, but especially on a team like this, those Cure 2s, maybe not so much during battle, but those cure 2s can actually cure up the party in between fights decently well. I think the major reason that Elvin went ahead and did that, as we see Sus going into the top slot here, is so that he can go ahead and get berserked. But White Mage Cecil might get a little bit of work, even though he does have power overwhelming. Ooh.
Cure 2 is going to be interesting there. And oh, hi. Can I interest you in cover strats?
Yeah. Edge tanking that pretty well. This is another spot where, you know, I wouldn't mind going ahead and just popping a berserk and being done with it. 2 or 3 swings and you're good to go here. But those cover strats are coming into play already. Sid is doing his Sid best, and we'll see how this goes. We are going full-blown attack mode. We're not blinking, we are berserking. But down goes Cecil. This might unfortunately be a little bit of a wipe.
Yeah, this evil wall here is no joke. Even anchored as you are here, again, every movement, and it is just especially that cane. That cane has no armor. That cane has defense sword, and the defense sword is not defense enough to those punches here. As Panda does finish up that Octoman, is up that gauntlet in Fugul here, so not as behind as you might think. Especially probably going to head over to. I would assume heading over to Evelyn and hopefully getting the bounty of all those weapons there. Is landing right next to the castle. So yeah, should be picking up that crystal sword and defense sword momentarily.
Yep, Elvin making some, and he's going up the same tower too, so he'll be getting it in no time flat. Elvin making some adjustments, dropping down the battle speed. I do believe that he is put on the crystal armor for some added defense. Still attacking, not covering, and we are darting, so we thought maybe we'd be darting that Drain Spear earlier. There is 6,000 HP, we're already halfway through. The adjustments seem to go ahead and be paying off as Kane bites the dust, but that's okay. We are a Berserking Edge, and the Grimoire is an Odin pull, which unfortunately will not do anything against a boss that has the boss bit at all times. Down goes Tella. I think we're going to go ahead and get through this. About another 2...
real quick, I'm going to jump in here. Bardic Panda is getting to that monster's chest there. Did go to the left tower first and did pull an Artie bow. So, hey, you want your Sid to do things late game? Well, guess what? That Artie bow, one of Sid's best weapons, actually, there. If you're not looking to anchor him, unfortunately, Bardic Panda did let go of that Sid, so might just be sales.
He does. He did. Should we find some Artie arrows? Those are weapons that Cecil can go ahead and equip. If you are doing an egg grind, I mean, it's likely that he's going to be getting his crystal sword in no time flat. But those Artie arrows can do a lot of work. Should you go ahead and want to do a gold dragon grind later on, that kind of combination can go through. If for whatever reason, I know that they both have curse rings, but if you need to do any kind of agility manipulation, those Artie bows provide an added 10 agility. Or maybe at some point he says Yang's not working out and he wants to change his party. He has the option as well. So that Artie bow can certainly have some use for both parties later on.
Okay, so we've got a required plague here. So the question here is, I know we don't have any coffins here, and the thing is, the fight does kind of require that everybody does get full healed as Bardic does get that crystal sword. Checks the chest 2 more times just to make sure it was a crystal sword. The defense sword also coming in here. Tellet does want to be launching those berserks, though you're going to need a couple of them running here. The question is, again, just getting a party member down, because you're going to want to be throwing a life potion or 2 before you really kind of get that berserk lock here, because you just don't have enough time. And down goes Kane. Everybody's on 2 here. Everybody's on 0. Can Sid get this life potion off? He does. Okay.
I mean, should he go ahead and wipe here? As long as you just curse Tella, you know, you're golden, because with this game the way that it is, if you have a party over it or a character over at RA1, and with this count, I think that's going to be more than enough time for go ahead and Cecil to get all the swings that he needs to. So he's through. But should he have elected to not go ahead and get everyone up with this particular method, he could have just gone ahead and cursed Tella and been on his way.
That is a sad back row yawn there, but again, we do see Bardic Panda going through and checking the rest of Evelyn Castle here. Is going to get a little bit more XP there. Unfortunately, that Crystal Sword wielding Cecil is down, taking a nap here, so going to take a little bit to get further here, as we do see those counts being refreshed. But again, did get that Berserk off on that Crystal Sword Cecil, and yep, that Plague is shaking and is down there. So elvensorrow are going to be hitting the pitfall right about 33 minutes, which is a really nice time here.
It's an excellent time. For once upon a time, 45 minutes was kind of considered to be the metric for if you were, these flags are forced hook, but if you were in a flag set where it could be either or, maybe you get the Magnum here, maybe you get a hook route, 45 minutes was kind of considered to be like, okay, well, if you get under 45 minutes, you're doing well. And maybe that's a little bit different as Elvin finds a pitfall. Ugh, rookie. Um, it's a little different when you can find so many characters so early on, but still, 33 minutes is ridiculous. It's a great time as we find a Calbrain at the top of tower.
Yep, not something I'm really going to be heading to. Elvensorrow probably going to go straight to that Panda if I had to guess. Bardic Panda did find a Silent Stick in the second trap chest there. Not entirely out of the question there. Might glue that to Tella, see if I can get something there. Does find a Heroine Robe, unfortunately for all the ladies not appearing in a seed.
Yep, Calbrana is one of our bosses. It is our fourth over here on our tracker. And we have Tower Key, so it wouldn't be shocking to me for Elvin to go ahead and come on up and put his butt right back on down to go ahead and deal with that. I guess he's taking some time to think about it. Hopefully he's not out for a smoke, as I know that Elvin tends to do sometimes. Not quite sure what he's doing. Maybe he doesn't know what he's doing. Ah, there we go. He's coming on back down as Panda finds a Murasame. So we've got Masa, Mura, and then, sure you did all that work for that other Murasame, but hey, here's a free one too.
Here, would you like Hanzo? Would you like more Hanzo? Even more. Hey, how about a nice hat? How about a ninja sword? How about a color curse ring? Would you like value? Would you like money? Because you're getting all of those right now.
So to your point earlier, we need all the wine. We need all the wine, and even those last 4 or 5 items are tons and tons and tons of money. So hourglasses, coffins, sirens, Bacchus wine. Panda is not. He is certainly behind at this moment. That is not deniable. But as he gets set up for later bosses, he can certainly go ahead and afford whatever he wants, including some of those elixirs if he wants to. Those are definitely good safeties, especially for a team that does not have any legitimate healing.
Possum asking where the gauntlet was. The gauntlet was in its vanilla position.
Alternately. So it was at Fubul, but it, of course, because of the flags, was not a traditional Fubul gauntlet. It was an alt gauntlet taking on the enemies that are in the area of Fubul Castle. But for those of you that have played the vanilla game, the enemies were a little bit different.
Alright, so getting all these sales here. Did find a white spear as well, because hey, why not? Just getting a cool 370k, as opposed to back, Lollipop League, where, hey, we sold that, initial bit of rune rings, even S Quarter not doing a thing there. It is definitely possible just to be entirely flush with cash here. Bardic Panda has at least that money advantage, going to be able to afford whatever he wants later down the line there. And again, the big things, a few sirens, not going to be too much there, but in terms of, especially again, you're going to want all the Bacchus wines if you can. I might buy a ninja shirt there. Why not?
Yeah, there are some spots where it's nice to go ahead and be fast anchored. The Masa and Mura, I believe, cancel each other out in terms of agility, but it's a decent amount of defense and a nice little agility uptick. So Elvin is going to go ahead and deal with these basically required dolls. A flame or a blitz will not be enough to go ahead and take them all out at once. Neither will any spell that Tella has, so he's going to have to be a little bit careful here, because I don't believe that they've gone ahead and found any kind of hourglasses. He's got a grimoire, and you know what? That'll work. Just grimoire a Bahamut. I mean, obviously, when you have grimoire, just go ahead and choose Bahamut, and then duh, right? Like, why didn't I think of that?
Yep. The big thing here, I did actually learn something myself a few days ago here, and I'm pretty sure it was Impossible Stream. Nice power shirt by the by there. Is that the
Mhm.
orcs will not make the big doll here if the blue ones they are vulnerable to being toaded, and that status will keep the dolls from combining into the big one. So Tella could have actually just dropped in a toad there, and they could have just dealt with them as normal there. So Pan
Correct.
taking the Staleman chest here is going to be in a better position in terms of dealing with that evil wall, but elvensorrow's lead is growing a bit here, just taking all this extra stuff. And a second Artie bow. I'm gonna say it right now. I love being a loot goblin myself, but I'm just gonna say, Panda, you have enough stuff. Just get moving here.
Yeah, for sure. The last time that you and I did comms on a race together earlier in the week, we had a runner who looted a bunch, and it ended up paying off dividends through darts and gross bosses and things like that. And it's like, man, all that, it seems like a lot of loot, but it's really paying off. In this particular, and you couldn't fault it. In this particular case, I think we're falling a little bit behind. I can't really think with these runners off the top of my head, as we're going to see what we got from the Super Cannon room, which is just a Moonveil. I can't really think of an item that it's like, oh man, this would really make a huge difference. We have edge weapons. We have the Crystal Sword. We have a defense sword for Kane. We just got he doesn't know this yet, but we just got a power shirt from the top of tower. There's really not much left that be terribly, terribly helpful in terms of getting through our bosses, outside of things that you need to buy, specifically Cure 3s.
Yeah, and again, Bardic does have, even with that Ninja Sir purchase, over 300,000 GP here right now. That's plenty to get a stack of Cure 3s going. And again, Bacchus seems to be like the biggest thing. If you could just, again, I know we have a certain member of the community that loves to buy like 50 of them, but this is the kind of seed I would buy 50 of them.
Yeah, it's been mentioned, somewhat joking, but kind of serious. Just kill the enemies, and then you don't have to go ahead and heal. That's the major downside. Is we are not even going to Dwarf Castle. We're checking our freebies right away. Elvin going right back up to check Shield 1, Shield 2 after that hand bonk, which resulted in just a ribbon. Kill your enemies. Don't get hurt. You don't need to heal. So far so good with you can't fault the winning strategy. If you have a ton of Bacchus wine, you're just going to go ahead and the overwhelming majority of bosses with this party, you're just going to just punch them to death in the most literal way possible, and then you don't need to heal.
Yep. Speaking of cash, there's a Root Axe in the Mad Ogre's chest there. Again, there is Panda's loot pile grows here. Gonna be Scrooge McDucking it here in the money bin here with all that money Panda has here. As elvensorrow is going to take the full defense here, is going to be happily rewarded here by at least maybe not so much the Murasame here, but here's the gauntlet. So here's the thing: 5 out of 7 bosses, and you're elvensorrow, and say Sheila has the goods, and by the goods I mean the darkness crystal. Are you going to the moon, or are you going back up the ground?
So this is what, I've done a bunch of these heats at this point, and this is what I struggle with quite a bit. Also worth noting that at this point, Elvin does have enough to go ahead and get 5 Ninjutsu cast off. So while I personally view as Fading Fabul as a little bit dangerous, Elvin's rewarded here with a single trip and a faster gauntlet. It comes down to, do you have the pass, and what bosses don't you have access to? So we saw the opening Baron boss, which I do not remember off the top of my head, but I do not believe it was required.
It was Bahamut's.
Okay, Bahamut, which is not required. So that's 2 bosses at Bahamut. Twin Harp is 3, Package is 4, Zot 2 is 5, and Luca is 6. So those are 6 bosses that you don't have access to. This party, if you find some sirens somewhere, can go ahead and probably start to go ahead and take out, just about anything with the gear that we have. I don't know that you can go into full-blown face check mode yet. I think if I'm Elvin, I see what the Panbonk gives me. I see what this check goes ahead and gives me. I see he doesn't cast Flame here, which is a little odd. And I strongly... It's not going to kill all 3 of them. As I try to go ahead and see, how many of these extra checks can I go ahead and get access to? Because it's faster to clear most of the spots in the overworld and the underworld than it is to go ahead and clear on the moon. chances are when you're on the moon, you don't want to clear every boss. You want to be in mostly face check mode. So even though you found 5 out of 7, because we have so many gating key items, I'm not 100% sure that I want to go to the moon just yet.
Okay, Panda does get the information here that that is an evil wall here. Does take a reset to it. Is shuffling the party around here. Does seem to want to be putting Tella in that slot too. There, probably going to be leaning on a early Berserker. Gonna anchor Yang. Okay, one agility Yang. Okay, I see where you're going here.
Honestly, I think it's an excellent idea because you want to go ahead and Berserk up your strongest character. So let's have your Berserk, the one character who can cast Berserk, go first. I'm here for it.
Yep. Meanwhile, we do get the Sheila checks here. She hands over a Luca key and a white shirt. Hey, we found that white shirt, and hey, at least at the very, I mean, Tella's got Sork robes, got white shirts. I mean, yeah, Cecil can wear that white shirt. Honestly, isn't a bad candidate for it either. There. Again, Tella's just swimming in all this caster loot he usually doesn't get to get because he's usually regulated at anchor status, but you might actually, between there, I mean, Panda's got a life staff, a white shirt. Tella could be a respectable, and yes, I just said a respectable white mage. And unfortunately, Board AI sniffing out Panda's plan there. That evil wall just, sent a bonk over Tella's way. Like, you're not berserking that holy sword wielder.
Evil wall. This is probably one of the rudest spots you can find evil wall. This is a very punchy spot. For those that don't know, most of you probably do, but for those that don't know, for spots in the vanilla game where the characters do not attack, so physically attack, so King Queen King Queen Evelyn here, or the Leviathan spot, or the Crystal Sword Altar, or Cave Bahamut. For whatever reason, as a joke or otherwise, as we find some required gold as elvensorrow with gonna have 6 bosses by the end of Dwarf Castle at a minimum. Here we go again. If y'all caught his match last week, the spots where in the vanilla game they don't physically attack, the attack power is through the roof. So when you find a punchy boss like, oh, I don't know, Evil Wall, at a spot where the attack power is through the roof, it can be very, very rude. So the struggles that Panda is having right now are certainly not.
I hate to say, Panda just thought Tella missed. Tella didn't miss. I just saw Cecil was still wearing that crystal armor.
Oh no. So this game has a lot of odd little things that aren't necessarily very intuitive. As Panda's going to go ahead and reset out again. There's nothing, that logically says, oh, you have the best armor in the game, of course you can't be berserked. There's nothing about that makes, intuitive sense. It's just kind of one of those things with the game. Elvin and I are incredibly close. I don't know a lot about Panda, but it might just be one of those things where it's a really specific piece of information that you just might not know. And, how would you know unless you've honestly had an experience like this where you tried to go ahead and berserk and it just hasn't gone on?
Yeah, may have realized that here. And again, the Grunt says something ribbons, and yeah, that's like, I know we've seen like 2 ribbons come out, and yeah, those are a bunch of people here. Oh, okay, so yeah, we had some demolishes Mish. So everybody's actually standing here, and Golbez does not like crystal swords. He doesn't like Cecil either, so the virus comes out before Cecil can get that swing off, and immediately and wisely goes and says, well, I better actually throw him a veil. Did find one elsewhere, because I could have swore we used them all on Ordeals. Panda is now through that evil wall as well here, though.
Which is great for Panda. We'll see if he goes to go ahead and save. No, he's hopping right in. I applaud the guts behind that. Yeah, the magic at this spot is pretty high. The big doll eventually casts Glance, which I think they needed to go ahead and make sure that it almost always worked. Excuse me. So the magic power is a little bit high here. As Elvin is going to go ahead and find the second part of this, as he has 6 bosses done within 46 minutes. This is ridiculous. Why don't I get seeds like this? There's only 3,000 HP at this spot for this Yang, which can quite frankly just be cheesed. The attack is a little bit high, but I don't foresee any real problems. Also, that's going to be go mode at 46 minutes.
Well, not yet. I don't see Darkness.
As soon as he finds a Darkness Crystal or a pass. Are you kidding me? I mean, my God. Oh, wait, I'm going to be petty for a minute. With the amount of chains that I have had to follow in my asyncs, in my practicing, this is... And if anyone saw his match last week, This dude, like, he finished in like 8 seconds. This is crazy. This is bonkers. Rando's gonna rando, and at 46 minutes and 49 seconds, we're basically in darkness or pass mode, because of course we are.
Yep, we do have 2 people too angry to die here, so it does look like even if Tella goes down here without throwing that life potion, doesn't actually throw that life potion here, Cecil's going to get back up. And you gonna bet on this being Darkness Crystal right here?
Yep. Actually, no, I'm going to bet it on Life Glitch with a little bit of Vanilla, and then I'm going to guess that we have Sirens. No, I'm sorry. It's going to be Darkness at this one, and then Pass with the Life Glitch. That's my prediction.
With the Warp Glitch, you mean? Okay, yeah. I'm like,
Warp Glitch, yeah, excuse me, I apologize.
Anyway, here comes the Warp. 2 shots here at Darkness Crystal. I'm just kind of hoping it's behind something Root of the Feymarch at this point, just to slow this down a little bit. But do we have a vanilla Darkness Crystal? We do not. That's just a package.
This is absurd. This is absurd. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Oh, well, there it is. Kiat has the Darkness Crystal. We have 9 key items here.
You're not fishing for a 10.
How greedy are we? Are we fishing for a 10?
No. We got a Soma drop. Is he thinking... that Soma drop might be saying, if I don't find Sirens at Tamara, if I don't find Sirens at... if I don't find Sirens at the Feymarch, maybe Redeem Machine? Maybe?
We can fish for that 10th key item at the Feymarch. We've got a Feymarch freebie we haven't checked yet.
That's true. That's a see Night Nude. This is why you are who you are and why I am who I am. As Panda is going to go ahead and head on down here, he's going to see his required boss at the top of the tower. You have to imagine he's going to go ahead and go down to Dwarf Castle sooner rather than later. And with all of his money, if there are Sirens and Bacchus Wands for sale, he's going to be able to buy whatever he needs. Let's see if this is a key item. Let's see if we have Sirens for sale. I have to imagine Elven's heart is just pumping through his chest, just thinking, go, 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 go. That's 10. That's Baron. So this is going to go even faster. And do we have Sirens? Of course we're going to have Sirens here, because why wouldn't we?
Nope, just some hourglasses here. So
let me tell you something, though.
We got Tamra, and we've got Tamra, and we do have the Hummingways still open here. So
I think those hourglasses say, you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and do some gold dragons on the moon. I don't have to pass. I think he's going right up. Okay.
I mean, he's still gonna check the Sirens, but I see where you're going with this gold dragons on the moon.
Yeah.
There, yeah.
I mean, the eggs here might be faster, but well, there they are. By 10, 13.
Still no Moonwine, so well, it could be Moonwine here. Still no Bacchus, but
that's a good point. They might be on the moon, or you know, he certainly knows where he can possibly steal it up on the hook route. Where's he going now? Is he just doing eggs? He's just doing eggs now. While Elven is terribly inconvenienced by such a long and winding and convoluted seed, this gives us a really good opportunity to go ahead and talk about our restreamers and our runners, because we're going to watch Panda go ahead and kind of follow in Elven's footsteps, and we're going to watch some egg grinding here. Looks like Panda's doing a little bit of looting over as he's heading up the tower to find his required Calcabrina. Please give these runners a follow. You are seeing some excellent high-tier play in a very exciting race. These are wonderful members of our community. We have such a fantastic community. If you are new and you are watching, please go ahead and hop on our Discord. If you are thinking about playing this incredible rando, please play. You can play on your own. We have a newbies corner. We have just amazing people. Please go ahead and give folks over in our Restream team a follow that put on this wonderful show, especially my co-commentator Night Dew, who does Worlds Collide, Crystallis, Red Moon in this tournament. It seems that every game that he plays, he does so at an incredibly high level. So please give all these amazing folks a follow.
3 tournaments at once was a terrible idea, let me tell you. But yeah, again, we was having Cecil. Wait, did you just fail to kill one with a Crystal Sword? Cecil, we're going to revoke your Crystal Sword privileges if that's the case there. But again, this is just grind and go here. So again, Bardic Panda is going to climb up is going to get that Calibrana. I would assume is probably heading to Dwarf right after there. Is going to follow the same route. I would guess. Might actually, no, you want the 10 key items first, honestly. But this is definitely Elvensorrow in the driver's seat right now.
Yeah, I don't know if you put the power shirt on. I'd be surprised if a backroad Cecil with a Crystal Sword, well, that's a little better. As I said earlier, as the levels go up, damage multipliers go up. And he has found his go mode so incredibly quickly that, maybe we just haven't gotten there yet. So, how high do you go? We also have no healing. I don't think anyone found Cure 3s. So when you're done getting to whatever HP totals you feel good with, don't forget we do have a Cid that can be cursed as a chemist. Do you go around the overworld looking for Cure 3s, or are you just going?
I would, in Elvin's place, I would maybe look for a few Cure 3s. I might be half tempted to use all of these, I might be half tempted to use all of these Sirens, hope for Moonwine, and just say, well, okay, there were at least Silk Webs in Basidia. I'll throw a Silk Web just to slow down Z and nerf the first Big Bang, and then after that, I'll just drink 4 wine to control her down at that point.
Would you consider leaving a save scum by the whale? You know that there are elixirs for sale on the hook route in Cave Evelyn. And if there is no Bacchus wine up on the moon, would you consider save scumming back down there, steal some wine, maybe 2, have telecast Berserk for the 3rd because Cid's probably going to be your anchor? Or are you thinking, this seed is so incredibly jetty, I have to go, and just deal with it when you get up there?
Now, see, I'm going to kind of go a little bit different here, as Elvin seems to be happy with levels now. It's going to go with what I have. Like, with Elvensorrow, I can afford a couple here. I don't have a bunch. Oh, no, there's a big doll here. But again, with, like, Bardic's bankroll right now, I would absolutely stop by and grab, like, 5 or 6 elixirs. That'd be all I need, really. But with Elvin's bankroll, I'd probably just concentrate on the wines there. Again, with the levels, I didn't see where he ended up here. We're hoping the Moon Shop has wine. That's going to be a big thing for this party. If the Moon Shop doesn't have wine, that's when we've got to audible a little bit here. Maybe get a few more levels here because we're going to have to sit through that fight a little more, as Tella is just not fast enough to berserk everybody in this party as much as you'd want there. I mean, hey, if we can just get Crystal Sword... Oh no, we ran out of power.
Yeah, so for those that don't know, those dolls go back to their full health. So basically, at this point, Panda is now going to go ahead and start the fight over. If you don't kill all the dolls, not exactly at the same time, but essentially at the same time, they turn into the big doll. That's why the Grimoire pull that Elvin hit was so significant, as we're going to find out very shortly if Bacchus 1 is for sale here, because it killed all the dolls at the same time and it got right through. It was incredibly fortunate. Of course it's Bacchus wine.
It's wine and only moon wine. We have the orchards way up here. Don't ask about greenhouse. We don't talk about it there. But yeah, Party at Hummingway is, and Elvensorrow is headed right to the Lunar Core here. And again, we're just marching straight to Z at 55 minutes. Not going to sub-hour this probably, but again, this is probably going to be one of the fastest seeds we have going down here in ZZ5 so far.
I mean, and you think about, so I'm trying to get my bearings here. So when you're trying to evaluate whether or not you need to nerf or whether or not you need to heal, it is worth noting I don't think he has Cure 3s. So healing for this party might be a little bit difficult. If you curse Cid, to your point, I think we might have a life staff for Tella, and I think we have a Sork Robe, maybe a Rune Ring, I don't know. He might be able to go ahead and do what we would all lovingly refer to as his Tella best, to go ahead and get some healing up here. So maybe Tella is enough to go ahead and get us through this. But when you look at the damage that you're going to get out per roll here, if you're at around like that 10,000-ish per round with 3 Zerkers, you're in pretty good shape. And it's not unrealistic to go ahead and get that when you have a Crystal Sword, a Masamura Edge, and a Defense Sword Cane. Like, I know only one of them has the Power Shirt on, but this is, you know, kind of, you know, sometimes when we, you know, I'm a music teacher and we talk about like setting, you know, like sound settings. We talk about like set it and forget it, you know, like set your sounds and you just set it and forget it and go. Like you just zerk it and go. Like you set it and forget it. If you set your Bacchus Wine, you have a Sid that can go ahead and bring Tella up, and then Tella can go ahead and heal. Maybe if you need to, you go ahead and nerf as you need to. But this fight is very, very doable. We'll see if he uses that apple for anybody, if he feels like he needs to. He has an Ether 1 if he needs to go ahead and get some levels up on, or get some MP back on Tella. This is an extremely doable fight.
Yeah, and actually where you were going with that there, I'm gonna like just a few more of those sirens being used. Again, Elven Might has been go, 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 go here. But what I'm thinking here is you were pretty much on the right track here when you said it's like at this point, do I just throw that Silk Web, Bacchus 4 people? I mean, just even send Sid at this point. I mean, he's just going to contribute here. And I would just say it's just, you know, nerf the first one, hope it, you know, hits either Sid or Tella, Bacchus 4, and control her down. And I think you get there.
Yep. In the meantime, I don't know why people are sleeping on this match. It could not have been more efficient. What's up with these Z-Flags that we have over here at Night 2?
Z-Flags, somebody's making a killing on all these Z-Flags, by the way, here. Maybe Bardic saying, hey, I just have all this money, let's make more by doing all this here, but I believe it just has something to do with whose rear is about to get thoroughly, again, no casters here. We're not throwing anybody into a microwave here. Whose butt are all these physical fighters going to kick tonight?
Yep, as we know, the beautiful, amazing, and talented Scala Kitty. We have a squared plus b squared equals c squared. A squared being Scala's, you know, ingenuity. B squared being the amount of sprites that are available. Equals c squared of the 8,000 sprites that we have that we can go ahead and find as we play this randomizer. We can't randomize Aromas. He is too big, too bad, too terrible. You can't have an antlion cave or bearing in one. So we have to leave him over here at the very depths of the lunar subterranean. But we can go ahead and make sure that he looks a little bit different. And while there are many ancillary questions, I do believe that it leaves us with the community of one primary question that we always ask before we start this fight.
My question is, why does Bardic Panda's Tella now have 300 MP? But again, are we just going to repeat the butt question here? Because yeah, we are. Yeah, whose butt are we going to quadratic equation this tonight?
Let's find out, and we'll have to ask Panda about I mean, if you have 350,000, I guess you buy all the Soma drops. I mean, it makes sense if there's no white mage, right? That's actually
crazy.
Yeah.
20 Soma drops just went into here, and again, watch out for Almagus. We've got Neo X Death here, so we've got the Magic Lamp Prime for Odin, and oh wait.
Wrong Final Fantasy. We'll see if the Silk Web hits for the nerf. I know we're on BS1, which is smart with Zerkers. Sometimes you might need a little bit of a delay. We're probably fine here. Sometimes if you fire it too soon, it won't hit, but it does. Let's see who the counter nuke goes against.
That Silk Web got cast exactly 1 hour, by the by.
Of course it did. And there's not going to be a whole lot to commentate about this race. I mean, you just go. So that first one is nerfed. Sid is going to go ahead and pick up Tella after the first big bang. I guess we can keep track over how much damage is happening per round here, which looks like it's in that 10,000 vicinity.
Yeah, actually, Sid went front row here. Again, that first big bang going to get nerfed, and I guess he's leaving Sid available for the chemist here. But yeah, we've got about 5,500s coming out from Cecil. We've got 2,500s coming out from Kane. And about 3,000 there. Was that just a peep going out as Romus there?
That was some peeping strats, which is not a sentence I feel comfortable saying on the internet for all of eternity. But regardless, followed by a big bang, so take that for what it's worth. And again, so Sid's going to go ahead and bring Tella back to life. We're going to go ahead and heal up, although I don't know what just happened. Because it looks like he put the life pot on the Cecil.
I think that's a Cure 2 going out to Cecil here, actually. Gonna give Cecil just a little bit more hit points, just in case we're not seeing another big bang. I'm just calling it here. That was probably the last action, aside from a shake or a or a happy accident meteor here that is going to happen. This Neox miss is not long for this world.
Yeah, this is a lot of power overwhelming. As we talked earlier, when you have melee characters, you find the gear and you're good. Mages and people like Yang take levels, and we got some levels with some of the sirens, but we found the gear very, very, very quickly, and we're just off to the races. It'll be curious to see if he thinks about nerfing. He might just be riding the Crystal Sword Cecil train. We'll see. You might be right about the second Big Bang. I feel like it's a little close. It's not completely power overwhelming here, but we shall see.
Can't help but think that might have been either a fake shake or we were already way into phase 3 before that shake came out. So again, the only one thing I'd really be worried about here is maybe a wombo combo. Oh, we did see a second Big Bang. That's actually a little spicy here. Is why he was throwing all those tier 2s at Cecil here. Kane, no, Edge survives. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, and that's and that's it. We don't even see rocks. Elvensorrow finally is. I just want to apologize to those in the audience that had to sit through such a laborious seed. We'll get you the actual speed or actual time in just a little while. But Elvensorrow is our first place finisher at 1 hour, 2 minutes, and 26 seconds. An absurdly fast time. An absolute clinic on how to go ahead and handle overwhelming power. And we will see if he joins us for an interview, but GG's to him. And I do believe we are joined finally from our winner, taking his sweet old time going through the seed, Elvensorrow. Thanks for finally winning, buddy. How you doing?
I'm doing good. And I said this last race I did. Jet seed salad? Like what?
Yeah, why don't you take us through your thought process as you got everything you needed?
Honestly, I don't really even know. I just kept going with the flow, and I'm like, this is what I got to do. I do know when I did tower, because there was a boss up there. Then I did pan because I'm like, well, the pan might open up some extra key items for boss checks, because at that point that was 4 key item checks for me. And then of course there's a gauntlet at Fabul, which I faded.
You were able to do the fabled single shot at Fabul though, and you weren't punished with tower key or pan or any of that. You got everything that you needed, so you went back there and you did it anyway, so you really weren't punished too badly for that.
Yeah, which is surprising to me because I'm not normally one to fade Fabul in hopes for the pan. You know what I mean? I'm not normally one to do that, but this seed, the way it was going, I was just like, this seems like the best way to do it, and apparently it was the right way to do it.
So, Evelyn, Crystal Sword, Defense Sword, and what would you have done, I would say? What would you have done had the Hemingways not had their own winery up there? Because we did have a little bit of a talk there, and like, hey, we might just go find these Mad Ogres, size 1, and see if, maybe Edge can just steal a bunch of Bacchus wine. But again, with team, I just want to punch things. It definitely just seemed to be the linchpin there, and I kind of wish it would have been a little bit more because, again, you just found go mode so fast.
Yeah, so I was obviously very stoked to see those Bacchus wines up there. If they weren't there, I still would have went for it. I probably would have slowed down the battle speed, which still might have gotten weird because you can't really berserk that quickly with Tella being your anchor and the only one that can cast berserk. But I probably would have just ran there and tried to make it work. I've done it before, but usually I have like one berserk caster that's not the anchor, but I would have just went for it.
Yeah, we were thinking you might also might have sold the farm or everything else because, dear God, the loot was out there was kind of horrendous there. We never did see the Cure 3s, but we did see the elixirs out in Cave Evelyn there, as Panda is getting news about the hourglasses here, and hopefully goes back to that key item there if you want to do the grind here. Does seem to be the thing here. Again, though, I will say real quick here that you now own the fastest finish and the third fastest finish here of the Blue Moon Seeds here. So how's that feel?
I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm just getting jet seeds, but maybe I'm getting a little bit better. I don't know.
I mean, that was again, you got the jet seed and you handled it very well here. So, say first and second blue moon, first and third overall. Thanks, awesome.
Also, I did have the elixirs marked down. I knew where they were. So I took a couple more sirens than I wanted to, just to push the HP a bit. And I'm like, with the cure 2s, I can just toss a bunch of those on Cecil and I should be fine. Because I just assumed my damage would be enough, and luckily it was enough.
Yeah, it very much was. And that's what I was kind of thinking there. It's like I might have even been half tempted just to Berserk Sid, maybe see if I could drop that second Big Bang, but again, Artie bows and other things just flying all over the place. So
believe me, I wanted to Zerg Sid. Believe me, I love Sid. But see, this is why Sid's so special, because at that point he has the HP that even if everyone else went down, I could use Sid to get him back up.
We all know that Sid's your boy. Hey, for me and maybe some people in chat. So if the next time I go to use a grimoire, how do I get Bahamut to come out? Is there like an up, down, down, left, right? Because every time I do it, it's Chocobo. So can you walk me through the process of getting a Bahamut to come out of a grimoire?
Dude, I was losing my stuff when that happened. I was like, are you serious right now? I'll take it, obviously, but I was not expecting that. I was expecting like a Chocobo to come out, and it hit that. I'm like, cool, all right. I don't have to worry about, because I was about ready to life Tella back up because Tella was dead, and then I would go to try to toad them, but I just hit the Bahamut, and I'm like, okay, that works.
I'm so glad you brought the Toad strats up, because we did that, and you bringing that up, it just makes me happy, actually.
Well, my last race, in the heat of the moment, I forgot about Toad strats, and I got the big doll. It was a back attack on Ordeals, but I remembered not to use elemental spells on them, and I still got through. But it's like, oh wait, I could have done Toad, and I see the Toad right when I'm doing like Ice 2 or whatever, and then at that point it was too late, and I'm like, well, you know. But I got yelled at by a certain someone about remembering Toad strats on the dolls.
Was it
so that's, yeah, it was possum.
Yeah. Good job, Possum.
So I don't even know what to say after a scene like that. I mean, it's just a you know, when they hand you the keys to the kingdom, you have to know how to go ahead and open the door and you know, run it. And you were incredibly efficient. You took it and you ran with it, and you know, I think there could have been temptation to go ahead and take, you know, a lot more sirens, or, you know, for me, I would have been tempted to go ahead and maybe steal some Bacchus wine as a safety in case it wasn't on the moon. Bro, you never think it. You just went. So GG's on just an absolute sprint and clinic on how to go ahead and, you know, when the game gives you what you need to go ahead and take it. So GG's, my friend.
Also, I don't know if you guys saw this, but I looted that trap chest and I got the crystal sword, and I was about to exit, and I'm like, let's check this other chest really quick, and that's where I got my defense sword, and I'm like, well, that's really lucky, because that was Kane's weapon right there.
Oh, speaking of, thank you for reminding me. You ran, you know, in terms of checks that are not often done, you went to a Chocobo forest that I don't think I've ever seen gone to on Restream. Where did the motivation for that particular check come from?
From Lit 3 seeds when you're doing dark matter hunts. And then I used to do a lot of Lit 3s. I don't do them a lot anymore. But lately, when I practice these seeds like off stream, I've gone in there and I found like Stardust rods in there, and I'm like, okay, now I found a Stardust rod there once, I'm gonna go back there every time now.
You know, I feel like you know, because the one Chocobo forest that's outside of Ordeals is like Martin's chest. You know, there's the PK chest that we have in Lower Babel, and there's the Possum RNG chest that's an Antlion. I think with two phenomenally fast early seeds, maybe that's going to become the Elvensorrow check. How do you feel about that?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm going to keep doing it, but if you guys want to name it after me, that's fine. But it doesn't really deserve a name yet, I don't think. because it doesn't decide a game. Like the Rex banner, that might decide a game. That's not a chest, but you know.
No, that's just brilliance right there.
Or the Gambit. I don't know if you guys remember that one. The Gambit was amazing. It was a K trap seed, and he went up to Giant when nobody else did, and then he just destroyed everyone.
I do remember that. He found his go mode like an hour before everybody else.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yep. Again, we have Bardic Panda. Went into Cape Hum. I'm like, what's going on? Oh, never mind. That's what we thought your grind was going to be earlier. Like, he's going to find wine. He's just go hit Gold Drag. He's like, no, I'm just going to go break eggs.
So, coming up next week, you have Frankie Bones, who had a incredibly exciting match against J-Mac the Librarian. Even if anyone in chat has not watched that match, I would encourage you to go back and watch it. It is an instant classic. How are you feeling about your matchup for next week?
I'm not really sure. I know my opponent, but I don't know their tendencies in terms of how they race. But normally I don't really let that get in my head. The main thing I know is that they are an amazing runner. So I think I just gotta do what I'm doing, play good, and just know I'm going up against a good opponent, a great opponent, and not try to like, oh, this is what they're gonna do, so I should do this. I think I'm just gonna play my game, and they'll play their game, and we'll see who comes out on top.
And to be clear, your game is to have all the bosses out right away.
Yeah,
what we see in the tournament.
I guess the way this tournament's going, I guess I got a sub-hour of the next seed, right?
Just cut seeds and just set the record so they don't have any time to pass you. Right?
I'm excited for the next race. Also, this is the furthest I've gone in a tournament. I've only played 2 tournaments before, but this is the furthest I've gone so far. So I'm pretty proud of myself right now. Patting myself on the back a little bit, you know.
There it is. I mean, as you should. I mean, you've put on two clinics. Frankie is very good. I had the privilege of having him in my Artie Bro group during Advent Cup, so I got to see quite a few of his runs. Dude's a stud. So I love tournament season, and as we kind of dive deeper into the tournament, we've already had amazing matches, but as we get deeper and deeper, if it's possible, it's only going to get better and better. And having a matchup between someone like yourself and Frankie is just going to be so incredibly fun. So I hope you're excited for it, because I know that I am.
Oh, I'm so excited for it, because like I said, I know Frankie's an amazing runner. I just haven't seen enough to know, like I haven't seen enough. But I've known Frankie, like, since I've been in this community, I've basically known Frankie. So we'll see what happens.
Between now and then, I'm going to send you a list of moon checks, because I don't know if you know where they are, so you haven't had to go there. But I was going to say,
is there a moon on these seeds? Because I haven't had to go there the past 2.
Yeah. So I'm gonna. It's a little PDF. If you have any questions, you can go ahead and ask. I know that a runner of your caliber doesn't have to go there, but for the rest of us mere pedestrians, it might be some useful information for next week. Is all I'm saying.
Oh, come on, you're too nice. I'm not that good. I'm just getting jet seeds, and it makes me look good. I'm not that good.
Meanwhile, Ruby's waiting on the moon, like, where are we this time?
All right, boss. Any other thoughts on the seed?
The only thing is, like, I've been playing every seed I've been playing lately. I haven't been playing a lot lately, but they're all been jet seeds. I need to get ready for the ones that are not jet seeds. Because there's no way I get another jet seed, right?
I think we've seen just a little bit of everything in the first 3 weeks of this tournament.
Yeah,
that's kind of, especially with the boss hunt format. I feel like that's kind of the beauty of it, in that we don't know. There's the odds might be one kind of way, or the math kind of be working toward another. I think the only certainty is the fact that we don't know. I mean, literally anything can happen. Anything can be found anywhere at any time. It's almost as if it's randomized. And
there's no logic in this place.
I wouldn't go that far, but
okay.
Give you a crystal before you even go underground next time, right?
No, man, dude, that will stress me out if I have a seed or I get the crystal before I even go down the hook route, and I'm like, how do I get to the moon? What do I do? That would stress me out really big.
Well, I look forward to that happening next week.
It might, but we'll see. But I do want to thank you guys, Johnny, Naidu, Zald pushing the buttons, Smapd doing the restream. I want to thank all you guys. You guys are all swell. Thanks for hosting all this. Thanks for doing the comms. Thanks for pushing the buttons. I mean, couldn't do this without you.
All right. Well, and thank you for putting on such a show for us. And GG's on a just incredibly well-run race. And good luck for next week.
All right. Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
Bye, brother.
You too.
So that was our winner with a very brisk time of 1 hour, 2 minutes, and 26 seconds. Our winner, elvensorrow, moving on to the round of 16, facing Frankie Bones. Meanwhile, while we were going ahead and giving Elven a hard time for no reason whatsoever, other than the fact to be funny, Bardic Panda is in go mode. He has completed his grind. He is comfortable with his level, his HP, his gear, and all the things. And I do believe that he is heading down the LST with a date with Zeromus.
Yeah, and again, all those gold dragons there might be coming in at just slightly even larger power level than elvensorrow did. Does have a Yang instead of Sid. I would guess that this is probably going to Quad Zergers but I mean, you know what I'm really hyped for? Atella with 300 or 300 MP.
Yeah, that's definitely something that I don't, you see a lot of things with this randomizer, and you see a lot of strats, and Elvin had mentioned Lit 3 seeds for those that might not know watching. Lit 3 is a reference to Trickers, which are an enemy on the moon, which want you to cast lightning on them, and then they, destroy you with lightning themselves with Lit 3 spells. With Lit 3 seeds, you see all kinds of crazy, all kinds of ludicrous strats and things that you need to go ahead and kind of figure out. And so, between different flag sets, you see all kinds of wacky things. I don't think I've ever seen a Tell with 300 HP.
I mean, other than, supermarket sweep seeds where, early it's just like, hey, instead of just, got the old school apple seeds where it's just like, hey, apples cost nothing, and, well, what we're just doing is, buying all the HP items, taking everybody like to 999 hit points, grabbing some elixirs, and just throwing HP items to Z. That's interesting.
Yeah, I think I remember, Possum, you might be still in chat, that there was a mystery seed that was restreamed where the dupe glitch was on, which Possum realized, and he sold something for all the money, and apples were for sale, and so he got ludicrous HP totals and found like fire bombs or lit bolts or whatever. He just used those items for the whole seed. So I've seen that, but I don't think I've ever seen a 290. See, that's the kind of MP where, in the vanilla game, he can be as vengeful as he wants. I mean, that's almost 3 Meteos against Golbez.
Yeah, that's all the Meteos there. He has that many. He has that much MP. He can even afford all 3 of those tier 3 spells, and that virus, and that Meteo, and still be going.
That's the level of pettiness and violence which I am here for in a video game construct, of course. Also, he's looking pretty beefy. There's a good chance that Tell might even go ahead and survive a nerfed Big Bang, which would be helpful. Z fights are certainly never guaranteed. I think that Panda is in extremely good shape. I don't foresee any problems. But with HP totals that high for Tella, should there be any kind of wackiness or things having to go a little bit sideways between the HP and the MP totals that we talked about, I think Tella serves as a really nice safety in case things go a little bit wonky.
1100 should survive the first Big Bang there. I know they both did see Silkwebs in MSA shop, so that was probably be the nerf choice there. Again, Tella might just be there to really cast a Cure 4, and I'm kind of here to see that actually. How high he can go with that here as he gets down there. It's just be like, hey, it's just like having a real white mage, only it's Tella.
I mean, the curse ring is minus 15, but you had mentioned that, you have a life staff, you have a Sork rope, and while the main reason for putting a curse ring on is to go ahead and get the agility down, when you have those supplemental items that can go ahead and kind of compensate for the curse ring also bringing down your wisdom, or your willpower down 15, it almost gets him back to a normal Tella-ish level, which has potato-esque qualities, let's be real. But it might be able to go ahead and do just enough. But as we look at these HP totals, I'd be very surprised if there's any kind of problems whatsoever with the Z fight.
No, not at all. I believe it did stay on battle speed 1 there, but again, that's Zerkers there, so I mean, you're just going to see the crystal get thrown by Edge. Probably 3 to 4 character strength line, maybe throw a Silk Web as well here, and again, it's probably just going to go about the same as elvensorrows did, where we just did actually go parry with Yang. Might have just chugged line, but yeah, again, it should just be, hey, we punch Z until Z stops moving.
Do we know that he stopped at the Moonshot 4 Pocket Swine? Does he have it? Oh, yeah, he does.
Oh, yeah, he had plenty of Pocket Swine, yep. Did see like 17 of them, I believe. Yep, 17. So here goes Kane. Here goes Tella is gonna... Oh, Tella's just gonna... apparently did not buy the Veils there. Is just gonna manually drop the slow in here. Also works. Did see the first there. Everybody else getting into the line. And where's this counter nuke go? Hopefully Yang, maybe Cecil. And yeah, Yang, there you go. Yang doesn't care. Yang eats nukes for breakfast. And yeah, still 2173. Yeah, you could take another one of those and be fine.
Yeah, looks like Yang is going to be the chemist for this particular team. I don't believe that Tella is cursed based off of the turn order that we saw here. Silk Web is a stacked slow, so it's going to go ahead and be Silk Web will be 2 slow casts. That one singular slow cast, while it is going to go ahead and nerf this Big Bang, so everyone, hopefully, including Tella, will go ahead and survive. It won't actually slow Zeromas down at all. Let's see how this Cure 4 does, just for Yang specifically.
Well, gotta remember, Cure 4, no matter what the magic there, will single targeted will always bring the target full, no matter what.
Today I learned. There it is. Are we gonna Bacchus? What are we gonna do here? We're looking. They got 1 elixir. That might be a in case of emergency use. Putting an ether on Tella because 290 MP is not enough. So you know.
Hey,
sure.
Tella delivers ether 2s. Here's where we're gonna actually see what kind of white magic Tella has here. Has queued up the Cure 4 over the whole party here. Tella hasn't used that much MP, but hey, you know, 130 of the 40 you just used on the Cure 4, sure, why not?
That's not bad for Tella. That's not bad. And it's certainly enough to keep this party stable.
Oh yeah, that's wonderful for Tella, honestly. I'm wondering if he actually got the white shirt there. That was just the life staff talking. But okay, we're with Yang's turn again. It does look like Yang is going to play Chemist here. Yeah. I'm sorely tempted to berserk him up here, but again, everybody's definitely handling it.
Looks like he might be thinking about nerf. Ah, there it is. He's just giving in. Give in. That's right. Just let the punch mage punch things. Even if he doesn't have any, cat claws, poison claws with levels like that, he's gonna do some work.
Oh, very much so. Yeah, it's that big thing with Yang is all he needs is levels. The rest is just gravy.
Yeah. So honestly, Panda can probably just put the controller down at this point. Got 6,000 in swing. So that's an Edge is doing work, plus Yang, plus Kane. You're looking at upwards of 12,000 a round. Even if we see a Big Bang here, it might go directly into rocks. I think we already saw the tip. This is we're gonna go ahead and nerf here. That might have been a little bit early, but I don't think it's even gonna matter all that much.
Huh?
Yep. So, well, that actually might have been timed, maybe right at the right spot, but it's not gonna matter. This counter nuke's gonna hit somebody. Honestly, that's best target. Really gonna put the controller down now because everyone's berserked up. We are totally fine. It's just a matter of time before this goes down. He did.
Throne's probably wondering why there aren't a bunch of kids slinging nuclear spells at him and a bunch of people just beating him down.
Yeah, we don't often see quad Zerk, and that is it. That is a crack in the shake. Get your GGs out for a very well-run race from the Bardic Panda with a final time of 1 hour, 25 minutes, and 14 seconds. There was never a doubt with that Z fight. It was extremely well handled. And Panda is joining us for an interview after a well-run race. GGs.
Yeah, a little bit behind there, but I've never been very good at jet seed, so...
Yeah, that was about the jettiest it could get there. You kind of ran a little afoul of Elven, who just kind of runs into jet seeds and has been kind of grinding him out there. One thing definitely, I mean, you found about the same thing there in Eblin. You found the crystal sword, you found the defense sword right next to it, and then you kept going there, and then you had about eight like Elven was loaded with stuff. Don't get me wrong. I mean, ninja swords everywhere. You had more money than Scrooge McDuck at that point. And then I guess it was to give Tella MP at that point. Was that the primary idea behind all that extra looting?
It was more that with the team I had and not having any healers, I was trying to, get some things to sell if I found Cure 3s, and otherwise, I just wanted to see if I could find better armor for somebody. And I didn't get that until a little later.
Yeah, it makes sense. I have to imagine that when you look at the character pools that you had, you got to be excited because you have all this, power overwhelming. But like you're saying, the lack of a white mage. I mean, even no Rydia with Nashura's summon. That has to be a little bit disconcerting.
Yeah, I mean, by the end there, I got Tella to work as long as I needed him to, but it was a little offsetting there.
Oh yeah, and I mean, to be fair, it was still well run. I mean, 125-14 with that is just the other thing I wanted to ask there is you kind of did go no anchor on that there. We're wondering if you, especially with that very early curse ring, wondering if it might have been a whole thing to maybe like keep Sid, just throw a curse ring on him and possibly make him the anchor there. So I mean, it still worked out for you just fine, but I didn't know if that was kind of what you were thinking there. I think you anchored Edge for that. Oh yeah, that was the big thing there. That evil wall was not very kind to you.
No, it was not. I turned Yong into my anchor for that because he was my lowest DPS, and 2 times killed Tella immediately when I was wanting him to berserk, and then another time I forgot that I had the crystal armor on Cecil and tried berserking him.
Yeah, that evil wall in that spot is just it's probably one of, if not the worst boss you can go ahead and find at that spot. We weren't sure if you were aware that crystal armor blocks berserk because it's such a random piece of information, but you found your way through.
Yeah, I am. I just forgot that Cecil has crystal armor because I try to avoid putting that on him when possible.
It happens. It's something that we've all done many, many, many times.
But yeah, I ran into Evil Wall at that spot and my last race, I think, and yeah, not a good spot.
Still, again, this was the waxing bracket, so again, one loss does mean you are very much still alive in this here, and actually, you know where that is putting him there.
I believe I'm going into the top thing on the bracket list.
I just really need to stop consulting my own bracketology because it is thoroughly busted by now.
Come on, this is such an easy tournament to predict, right there. What are you talking about?
Honestly, I was expecting to be out by now. I was surprised by my last win.
I mean, I would be surprised by the win. You played a good seed there. But yeah, again, we should. I don't know if that's we should be going into that next week there. So again, just kind of didn't roll your way there. Jet seeds are. I mean, trust me. I mean, even for somebody who's been running this for forever, jet seeds are still that a little bit of stuff you just really don't want to run into. You kind of shake a little bit. It's like I feel a little more rushed than I normally am, and it's just not fun.
In reality, I'm almost glad because this is the first jet seed that I've had restreamed. So that means I can look back and easily see what was done differently between us and learn how to do jet seeds better from it.
Okay, I got Snape says winner of Soapbox versus Lenovo. So you actually look like you probably have a week off here, so you do get some time to kind of go through and take a look at that. So yeah, it should be just time to regroup and just get back at it a week or two from now.
Yeah, making it further than I thought, so that's already fun. And that's the point. Just enjoy myself, get better.
That is the point of games, is to have fun, and from what we saw was a tremendous amount of ability, and there's no reason why you can't continue to go deep in the tournament.
I hope so.
All right, well, that's all I got. Did I do anything else?
No, that would be everything. Just one big more shout out here to our restreamer Smapey, who apparently really had something to do today. I mean, seriously, this was a jet of a jet here, um, and really, we go tracking on Zalday again. John, wonderful to commentate with you again. Didn't see we could get to it as quick as we did, but yeah, always good to talk with you here. So between that and all the admins who make all this possible here, just a big shout out to everybody here.
Yeah, if you didn't want to do a long race, we could have talked about it in private. You didn't have to go and have them, run something so incredibly jetty. But it's fine. It's fine.
I mean,
It's
now
fine.
I don't know what to do with my night.
Well, what I can tell you is where we're going to be heading over next is to some guy named Possumorpheus. Speaking of jet seeds, mild spoilers, I ran one off stream that I sent to him, and I was like, how fast can you do this? And apparently, as I'm looking at his screen, he is currently running it. So if you like jet seeds, Possum's running one now. So I believe we're headed there next. Tomorrow is an off day. On Mondays, our admin team actually gets to rest for a whole hot second. A tournament of this size and magnitude is enormous, so giving them and our runners a day off is there. But I can assure you that next week we have more incredible races coming up. So please stay tuned with all of our free enterprise channels. Look at our Discord for matches coming up. But in the meantime, enjoy the off day tomorrow and enjoy Possumorpheus, which is where we're headed there now.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.